spirits in this house. We've definitely talked about it before. Our house was built in 1924.
Well, if you do, I've never felt the presence of any of them.
Have you spent any time upstairs?
Very little.
Mm.
Do you think that's where?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We've named him Steve.
Oh, so you think it's a male?
Accuracy to that. No, I think it's a child. But Evie used to talk about him when she was little, that she would like see him.
Mm.
So we just gave him a name, Steve. Did you ever play with a Ouija board when you were younger?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love Ouija boards. I want one.
Mm-mm.
Yes.
Mm-mm.
I wish I had my like original one from when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, get the fuck out of here with that.
That's a hard pass for me.
Well, I definitely had a situation where we were speaking to somebody, a spirit, through the board when I was in elementary school. And they gave us a name. And me and my friend ran upstairs and grabbed an encyclopedia, because that's what you did, and actually found it was like a Native American chief. I have to do some research. I'm trying to remember the name. But we definitely found him in an exciting way. Excitedpedia, you guys.
Excitedpedia.
See,
the thing about that in any of those games too, like you think they're innocent enough, but you have to have protection, right? Like if you don't have protection going into it, just like in this world, if you don't put protection around yourself, you end up, potentially meeting energy vampires or people that suck your energy that don't have that permission, but they take it anyways. Same thing goes in the other side of things too. Even more so, I feel like spirits can be a little indignant and be like, well, you didn't do any protection, so we're just going to do whatever we want. And I think sometimes you can inadvertently invite the wrong type of spirit into the game, if you know what I mean.
I am.
Like kids have no business fucking around with that stuff unless they know what they're doing.
Yeah, but that's how you learn, though.
I know, but that's kind of like what put me on the path of, I'm not doing this.
Well, it's interesting because it put me on a different path, but, and again, we keep coming
I shut
back.
It down. I was like, no.
We keep coming back to this where I'm like, let's fucking go.
Yeah.
And Rachel's like, nope.
I was like, I'm going to put my protection bubble around me and not believe in anything. Shut down my imagination. I was thinking about the other day, this particular tree that we had on my property and just how magical nature is and how I believed in things that I don't want to say no business believing in, but definitely came through from a past life for sure. And like fairies, like when we're talking about the elementals and that sort of thing.
I know I have that on my list to talk about today.
I used to imagine and play all the time.
Right.
It wasn't even something I would think about. It just was. And then, I turned that switch off at some point. All right. Anyways.
Should we welcome everybody?
Yes. All right.
Welcome to Two Mystic Mamas.
What are we talking about today, Kristen?
We're talking about Beltane.
Also known as
Walpurgis.
Also known as Maple. They're all the same time. April 30th and May 1st. April 30th into May 1st.
Yes.
And interestingly enough, it is the halfway point.
Yeah, between spring equinox and summer solstice.
Incorrect.
No, it is the halfway mark between spring equinox and summer solstice.
Well, it's the halfway point between now and Halloween.
Oh, well, I do know that we are 6 months. Yeah. Right now when we are recording this, we're 6 months to October.
Yes. The best time of the year.
But it definitely is the halfway point between.
Yes.
Because, and the reason that we bring that up is because we're celebrating the welcoming of warmth, fertility, abundance,
the sun,
growth, the sun.
All the things that are coming back from being dormant and cold and dark.
And if you are in the Southern Hemisphere, you will be celebrating this at the end of October.
Well, yeah. So the interesting thing that I found out, naturally, a lot of, well, this event in totality, like the way that it is structured, and Kristen can talk to this too from her background, but it pulls from the pagan, the druid, it pulls from the Nordic cultures. And then naturally with the Crusades coming in, it got a Christian spin on it at one point. But a lot of these events that take place right around this period of time they're all interconnected. Like they can all be traced back from a historic standpoint. So we'll kind of be talking about them from a Celtic standpoint, from a Germanic standpoint, basically that Western European area, if you will.
Right.
And how that's really where it was created and blossomed out of there and then turned into other events that, like the maypole.
Well, it was a big fertility and passion and love festival for people. So they would have, obviously in different places, they would have different rituals. But in one of them, they would actually like have people parading through the streets with like green faces. And I've never had the opportunity, and I would love to go around the maypole.
I did it as a little girl.
I know you did. I think we should do it.
I have pictures.
Can we do it this year?
Yeah. It's, we had ribbons and we created fairy costumes.
Well, it's also like deeply connected to earth magic and fae magic for those that are believers in that.
Yeah. And it was such a fun experience as a child because they did just that. It was the middle of the day. So some of these events, there's bonfires, there's dancing, which Kristen talked about, and those happen in the evening of April 30th. And then the maypole exercises happen during the day on May 1st. You can celebrate it, I guess, probably on May 2nd or 3rd too, depending if it's a weekend or a weekday. And those are all, they have spring flowers and greenery. And like I said, we decorated in like tutus and had flower headdresses and we were just like little tiny fairies, little tiny elementals dancing around.
And it was a symbol of beauty and strength and new beginnings. And people were really connecting to that fae magic by collecting all these offerings.
Mm-hmm.
And they would bring them and set up altars of milk and honey and flowers and herbs. And it was just really a time for celebration. And it was all based around essentially harvest, most of it.
Right.
Like when you're planting seeds, when you're harvesting seeds, when we're welcoming back the sun, when we're welcoming the rain, when we're going dormant, all of that. But I think it was cool that maypoles were like the heart of communities at one point.
The celebration of the maypole, or you mean like having like the actual
pole there,
yeah.
And then decorating the pole and going around the pole. Like it was really gives me Gilmore Girl vibes. If I'm honest, I feel like they would have had a maypole. They had been witchy in their ways. What would a witchy Gilmore Girls be like?
I would have had to have watched the show to know any of that. Who you should talk to about that is our good friend Nicole. She is obsessed with Gilmore Girls. I, on the other hand, never really got into them. But the other thing that I think is so fascinating and simple is just the reverence and the appreciation and it all coming back to the seasons and to Mother Nature, right? Like she leads the way. She guides us. Depending on where you live in the world, you may have a season change, you may not. We are talking about a place in the world, Europe again. We're talking about Europe, we're talking about England, we're talking about Ireland, and then also in the United States. Where we live in the western part of Pennsylvania, we have 4 very clear seasons. So it's very easy for us to apply these, what do you call them? Sabbats?
Really, they're traditions and ritual.
But right around like the seasons changing.
Correct.
And I think that is so beautiful because there's so much, I always feel this way, that there's so much to be learned by just being present in nature and just listening and observing and watching what she does and then just heeding from her.
Well, I think too, so much of it is about weaving life together. If you go back to the maypole and you think about what it was like when you were a little girl and you were twirling around the maypole with the ribbons, you were weaving life together with other children, with other people. And that's a lot of what's happening right now in nature. at this time of year is that you can literally watch it. You can watch plants start to weave together and grow towards the sun. And it's really about development.
Sure. And how connected our ecosystem is, right? Because without the plants coming back to life, without the birds coming back to life doing their thing, without the insects coming back, it's all interconnected. I was just reading an article the other day. So this past fall, and we talked about this on the podcast, I purposely did not clean up the leaves in my front yard.
Mm-hmm.
I left them there. And now, April moving into May is the time to collect those and either put them in your compost bin or still do something where they can nurture the earth. And I have felt like really great about that because I think for a long time, living where we live and where our house is particularly situated, it's always about like having that like pristine looking yard. You're more secluded and you have like this really awesome vibe of just seclusion and cover and
trees, forest vibes.
But my house is like front and center, right on, 2 main roads. And
right.
I was like, I don't care. I'm going to leave the leaves where they need to be because they're part of this really important ecosystem that I do give a shit about. Like exactly. I do care about the birds and the insects and how all of this plays in. And naturally, because I've done this, I know that my trees and all of the bushes and my birds, they're going to gift me an incredible garden this year.
A big part of Beltane is connected with fire magic. And, they would have these large bonfires and a lot of people would write their wishes or their intentions and throw them into them. And it was really a time for sacred ceremony too. And people would have hand fasting rituals and, that's a pagan marriage. And Charlie and I actually did a hand fasting at our wedding. I think they talk about it in the boys' podcast.
Speaking of that, just kind of going back to, hand rituals and people coming together. I think that's another thing that we don't do a great job of anymore is like bringing community together to celebrate these simple yet every year occurrence. Like these things happen every season. It's not like, if we don't celebrate them, they won't happen. But I do think that sense of community and bringing people together to interact with each other was also vitally important, especially coming out of winter when you are more secluded and you're more dormant because that's the elements of the, weather and what have you. And so it brings people together so they can, reconnect and reunite, which is always vitally important to us as humans.
She's gone for the chocolate. Another glorious thing from the earth. Mm. Have you guys heard the term earthing before?
Is it similar to grounding?
So the idea is walking barefoot out in nature. Essentially, that's what earthing is. I do have a book that I have recently procured that I haven't read yet. And I'm interested to dive into it to see how it is different from rituals that you and I might do. Because there are people naturally with anything that like go hard, right? They're going to go hard on forest bathing and being nude in, nature or earthing and grounding. And I am really interested though to kind of dig into it a little bit more. But I think people that are really into fae magic and that energy of the elementals kind of really are like earthing is a big thing for them.
I'm all about being barefoot. It just depends on where I'm at and if I trust my surroundings, I don't like being barefoot and stepping in dog shit.
It's all about connecting with the season's energy, Rachel. I don't understand.
Also, no.
Have you seen those memes and it's like, it's talking about the season and it's just somebody's front yard with like piles of dog poop that they have to pick up from over the winter.
That's like, being a dog owner when it finally breaks. If you don't time that, you can time it correctly where you pick it up when it's still frozen and it's way easier to dispose of than if you pick it up after it's defrosted. Nobody wants defrosted dog poop.
Why would you use that word? That's worse. That's worse than the word moist. Defrosted dog poop. Oh, God, Rach.
Anybody that has a dog that has a yard knows exactly what I'm fucking talking about.
I have a dog and a yard, and I know what you're talking about, and it's still fucking gross.
It is, but you know what I'm talking about.
You guys, I don't like to talk about poop. I don't care if it's my dog's poop or anybody else's. It is not my
Unless it's her birthday.
jam.
Then we like to talk about it.
No, we don't. No, we just talk about kale shots and what that might equal in the future.
You brought it up.
I did bring it up. Damn it, Kristen. I mean, naturally, with any change in season, we have crystals and plants and energies that go right along with it that we can use to amplify what's happening in that season. I really like to do crystal grids.
I've never done those. I know what they are, but yeah, let's talk about that.
I've actually been digging into this. So the book on my desk right there, the crystal book, is from the crystal deck that you got me, the Oracle deck.
Yeah.
And I think it's blue kyanite. I had pulled that card.
Oh, there's a deer.
Oh, dear.
Oh, dear, it's only one deer.
Oh, dear.
Dear, what happened to your family, dear?
Rachel murdered him.
No. The day that I put a shotgun in my hand and shoot a deer.
Just watch out if you're anything that's like skunk-sized or smaller.
I don't even think... No, way smaller than that.
If really? Groundhogs are bigger than skunks.
I've never killed a groundhog.
You want to. I can see it in your eyes. See, Steve agrees with me. Just made the lights blink.
Steve agrees with you. Chipmunks. And now voles. They're on my shit list.
These voles.
Well, you know why? I'll have to take a video, but my fucking yard looks like a racetrack. With tunnels, and it's just raised everywhere, and then you walk and you like bust your ankle. It's real enjoyable, Kristen. Okay,
I can tell. I'm so sorry about you and your voles.
No, you're not.
I am. I don't want you to bust your ankle.
Well, you know what? You know who has a groundhog problem, and you don't want to do anything about it?
Me.
Yeah. So you're your own worst enemy.
No, I'm not. He's living in his habitat.
Is that your garden?
Maybe.
Back to Kristen's garden. We always somehow come right back to that.
Right back to plowing the garden.
Yep, plowing that earth. All right.
So some crystals that you can use to amplify the energy. Rose quartz, feminine energy, beaming with love. Like it's the heart stone for a reason, right? It's to attract love to ourselves, like self-care. If you're in an existing relationship that maybe needs a little bit of a boost, if you're trying to attract new love to you, rose quartz can be your best friend. And I have a giant piece of rose quartz that's in the bathroom, and I almost brought it in today. I was feeling called to, and then I forgot to grab it. Aventurine.
Oh, yeah, I like aventurine.
That's
love a fun
aventurine,
gem.
And it's like a wish stone, basically. It's about career and fortune, and it does also correspond with fairy magic, if I'm not mistaken.
And it also has a lot to do with your heart chakra. And so like that whole center of your being.
Right. It's the stone of opportunity.
Yeah. There's a lot going on there.
And malachite, which is another green stone, which I love. I have all these amazing pieces of malachite actually from my mother-in-law. And I think they were her mother's.
Oh, wow.
And she gave them to me. They're so beautiful. I'll have to show them to you before you leave.
Yeah.
And they're like little pieces. But a stone of transformation.
Malachite is a semi-precious, if I'm not mistaken.
I am not really great with the precious versus semi-precious, honestly.
I think that it's more expensive, and I think so much you can do for thinking.
Right. Well, so in ancient Egypt...
I was going to say Egypt. Is this going back to Egypt?
It is going back to Egypt because it was associated with like death and resurrection. And I believe it was called the Field of Malachite, where it's basically like a place where there's no pain or comfort, like almost like a purgatory, which I find really interesting. But it is a transformational stone that you can use to amplify the energy. And I think it's also supposed to help with like insomnia, depression, that kind of stuff.
That tracks.
And the other one, which is a precious one, is sapphire, which is all about wisdom and connecting to the higher self and spirit world. Like big connection to spirit world with sapphires.
Using those elements from this earth to amplify the energy, I mean, they hold their own particular frequency and vibration and are special. They're just, when you take something, and I always say, anybody will tell you this, that goes, go to the stone that you're called to. go to the stone that, it speaks to you, because that means that it's pulling you in for specific reasons, and then figure out what those reasons are.
One thing I found really interesting in that crystal book, and I didn't even know this was a thing, but I have to learn it now. I have to know it. I feel so called to it, is divination with crystals.
Okay.
So I've done rituals or divinations and visions with runes before, which also go back to Nordic roots. And
in the divination, if we were to give them the definition,
it would be basically forecasting the future, right? But you would take all of these crystals and you would place them in a bag, and then you would pull them. Like, people could ask a question like you can do with like a tarot card or with runes or with tea leaves or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you actually read the crystals based on what their meaning is and how that would be interpreted into somebody's life.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like that is so up my alley.
For sure. I could totally see you doing that.
Yeah.
Like 1,000%.
You're just going to be walking around with a bag of stones like, would you like your fortune today?
I like how you're now instantly, in the throes of London.
At least I didn't go full Jamaican Miss Cleo.
1700s.
Yes. That's because I feel like for whatever reason, I'm like hunched over with my bag of crystals.
Trying to hide away your magic powers.
Yeah.
I feel like you should just be walking out like
I should.
this. Hi, everybody.
Singing Macklemore Glorious.
Yeah.
2 bags of crystals.
Now, that.
Yeah, that's a
vibe.
Goddess shit right there.
Yeah, that's a vibe.
All right.
Well,
Coming soon, guys.
Speaking of goddess, Walpurgis is actually, and if you take it back, and I love this so much, so hard. So the pagans, the druids, and the Nordics, almost all of them centered their cultures around the power of a goddess or a woman.
Right.
Which makes so much sense.
Right.
And in the 8th century, a Christian saint named Walpurga was canonized, and her feast day was established on May 1st. Walpurga was known for her work in converting pagans to Christianity and for her healing abilities.
Which I think is so funny, because Walpurgis has a very, in a lot of places, negative connotation, because they think it has to do with paganism.
And they think it has to do with the devil.
It's actually a Christian feast. It's a Christian holiday.
Yes. But before that, it was Beltane.
Right.
And then, you take it back.
Well, there are different names for all of these.
Correct. Yes.
Depending on where you are at geographically.
Yes. So it just so happened. Well, those Christians were really good at taking pagan holidays and turning it into their own. That's what helps with converting people to a new religion.
Right.
Oh, no. This is just a little bit different than what you're used to.
Right.
We're just going to do it this way now. And you're now a Christian.
And now, you're a woman, you're now subservient, by the way. Remember when you used to tell fortunes and you would heal everybody in your community? Just kidding. Get the kitchen, bitch.
Yeah. Goes downhill from now until they get to the good old Puritans.
You can tell I don't have any past life trauma here. All right, so how about some modern ways that people can celebrate Beltane this year? One of my favorites, which I think will be Rachel's favorite as well, is having a meal or a picnic or something with vibrant foods to celebrate Earth's abundance. She's celebrating Earth's abundance right now in her mouth.
Loving that. Yep. Just celebration of chocolate here. I think breaking bread, baking food, again, it's that sense of community. It's that sense of coming together. It's that sense of spending time with humans and just living in the moment and feeding your soul. I mean, it just like brings feelings of like being safe and full and happy.
Yeah.
In addition, a fire. You can have a little bonfire. Now they have solo stoves everywhere. It's very safe.
And if you can't have a fire, light a candle.
Yep. Same.
Or if you can't have a candle, have an LED flameless candle and put the intention into it and visualize a white light in it. There's so many things that you can do. You just have to get a little bit creative. You don't have to have a huge clearing and have a bonfire and burn. I was going to say something inappropriate, but I'm not going to.
Shocking.
I know.
Also, we love to do this too. We listen to music. Either
Dance.
by the bonfire, get down, or in your living room with your candle, depending, if you're listening and you have an apartment in New York City, I get it. So have a little candle, have a little music.
Dance, move, joy, embodiment. That's what this is about.
Have a little beverage.
Your life.
Yes. Also, if you have daughters who are 11, do a little dance to somebody out there who made up these dances with hands and shaking and
all the TikToks.
Whatever.
I think that we should do that video for our socials of Jeffrey and Charlie acting like their daughters.
Yeah, God, that guy is so good. The middle school teacher?
Yeah, he's so good. He's so spot on.
I thought it was hilarious. And then I showed Emmeline and she was basically doing him as he was like, and then there's this summer. And Emmeline was singing the songs. I was like, oh my God.
Oh yeah, they know it all.
Ew, brother, ew.
Evie made me do a video of me and her doing the football cheerleader one.
I hate doing all of them. I act like I don't know what I'm doing. So Emmeline stops asking me to do them. When in reality, I really have become completely uncoordinated as I've aged. How did that happen? I feel like I used to be able to do all of that, but now I'm like, fuck, I have no coordination at all.
I don't think we'd make it on Dancing with the Stars, Rich.
I wouldn't even make it to an audition. All right.
How about making an altar?
Yeah, yep. Altars are always good. Altars, freshen that altar up. Get some daffodils on there. Get some tulips. Get some lily of the valley. Get some
eggs.
Just add all the eggs. Like from our ovaries? Or you're talking like chicken eggs? Like what eggs are we talking about? Eggs.
Just fucking eggs, guys.
Candy eggs.
No, eggs.
I like how you're just saying eggs over and over again. I feel like you're talking about chicken eggs.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Not like Cadbury cream eggs.
No eggs. It's like I'm talking to Isla. I don't understand what you're saying, Isla.
Eggs. I'm saying eggs, Rachel.
Look at that thing over there. By that other thing. Okay, great. I'm driving. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. All right, eggs, because they symbolize fertility. Yeah. I'm
Maybe
tracking.
Some rose quartz, some carnelian.
White candles, that's divine light, energy, God. You can do green for abundance. You can do red for passion and love. You can do like any color that you want to coordinate to your altars. Always good.
Red is also associated with pleasure.
Passion, love, pleasure.
Eggs.
Eggs.
Guys, egg your altar.
Don't egg your altar.
Actually have a really beautiful bird's nest that they had abandoned that Charlie found. It was like in the yard. Somehow it got knocked out of a tree somewhere.
I have a hair that's tickling my boob. Don't you hate when that happens?
Yeah.
Well, we already know what your hair does to Charles.
Oh my God. I forgot he told you that.
I don't have that problem with Jeffrey, but that's for you to share. I am not sharing that.
Listen, I have very long hair.
They can see you.
All right. Oh, yeah, they can see me now. Hey.
See all this long hair?
See all this long hair.
That's braided?
It gets wrapped around things.
His eggs.
It gets wrapped around the Cadbury cream eggs and then goes backwards. Places it's not supposed to be.
Charles just has a lot of Kristen hair issues.
So go celebrate Beltane, guys. Some fiery, passionate love.
I was like, bring it home.
Yeah, no, I didn't bring it home at all, guys.
Love.
Eggs and love. Welcome to our episode.
Nicknamed, what? Eggs and love. Just so happens that this year, well, by the time this episode comes out, it'll already have passed, but do you know what day Easter's on? 4/20.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Hi, Easter bunnies. So yeah, there's other things that you can do that we can just,
There's other things you can do. We're not going to tell you what they are, but you can fucking do them. Research them yourself. Lazy.
Wow. Now you're just insulting everybody.
I love you guys so much. Clearly I'm a little.
We haven't even been drinking.
I know we haven't, but this is all Charles energy.
I mean, his energy is strong today. He is spastic and chaotic.
He came down in the kitchen and he was
like rambunctious. I was like, what is this vibe?
He's like the hyperactive kid in preschool.
Yeah,
That's what he was like.
Yeah, he definitely was.
He was aiming it all towards me.
Mm-hmm. Which was frustrating me.
It was frustrating you. I just threw boiling water at him. I know how to deal with this. I did not know Charles were injured or harmed during the making of this podcast. Don't worry. He's like, I didn't even feel it.
The rest of the day has yet to be unfolded.
Yeah, I did threaten to stab him.
Yeah, you did.
Coming next in It's Illegal to Murder Your Husband.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Love that episode. So yeah, this is a fun time of year. There's just so much new life and resurgence, and capture that, take that energy, run with it. Make your own little maypole. Like you can take a little pencil and stick it in a plant and then take some ribbon and just, boop, 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 We'll put some videos and stuff up of what like a maypole looks like in case you guys can't visualize a pole in the ground with people walking ribbons around it. But
I'm going to try and get her to make one with me, you guys, before this episode airs. I have plenty of space for a maypole.
I know. I'm thinking that we need to use like a skinny tree.
Okay.
Look at the deer. We're looking at you, dear.
Oh, they get so fluffy in the winter. They look like little fluffy alpacas sitting in the yard. They're so cute. Oh, she's looking right at me. I see you. I see you, baby.
Shaking that ass.
Shaking that ass.
Okay.
All right, guys. Swing your partner round and round.
No, that's something I can't stand. Line dancing.
God, I really thought it was going to be more of a thing when we were older based on the amount of like line dancing and square dancing we had to do in
gym
school.
Class. I think that's why I fucking hate it, because it was, I don't know. I
mean, depending on where you were at, we only did square dancing, but then when I moved to the South, there was definitely line dancing involved as well.
Well, and I feel like you get judged if you don't know how to do that stuff.
They can judge me all they want.
Mm-hmm. Then you join a sorority. No.
Or you start a coven.
You did not. Oh, I wonder if there's any movies that we can highlight that have to do with Beltane, Walpurgis, or the Maypole.
That's a good question.
All right, here we go. Midsommar. Oh, this is a horror movie. I heard this is actually fucking terrifying. This horror film features American couple who traveled to Sweden for a May Day-like festival, only to discover that the locals have sinister intentions. They like never go to bed. It like never gets dark. I heard that movie's like super scary. So that's a hard pass for me. Tinker, Tailor, Soldier, Spy. This Cold War espionage thriller includes a scene set during May Day celebration in Berlin in 1969. In May Day from 2021. While not explicitly about May Day, this action drama features a protagonist who hears the word Mayday spelled out in a modified NATO phonetic alphabet, leading her on a strange and dangerous journey. Oh, it's interesting that Mayday, the term Mayday, when people say Mayday, Mayday, if they're dying.
It's a nautical term.
Is it?
Yeah.
What does it mean?
It's like when a ship is in duress.
Yeah, I know, but where did it come from? From this celebration of ribbon and new life?
Everything is dying. Mayday!
Mayday!
So Mayday is the internationally recognized radio telephone distress signal equivalent to the radio telegraph signal SOS used to indicate a life-threatening emergency and request immediate assistance. The word Mayday comes from the French phrase m'aider, M''AIDER, which means help me.
So it has nothing to do with Mayday. So,
shall we send it away, Rach?
Yeah, let's send it. We're going to send this episode into the universe, and we are going to go celebrate the spring.
Earth is bursting with all sorts of new life, and we hope that you do too.
Yes, Earth is bursting. I like it. Go celebrate spring. Pick some daffodils, give them to a neighbor, bring them to a coworker.
My husband bought me daffodils Wednesday night and put them on my altar.
That's sweet.
So when you said, buy daffodils and put them on your altar, I was like, ooh, me, pick me.
We have lots of daffodils in the yard. And I forgot that I had planted daffodils in a specific part of the yard. And I was very happy this past week when I went out and I was like, oh, dang, I forgot. Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was good.
All right. We love you guys so much. Thank you for being a part of our community.
Yeah. Thank you for helping us to continue to spring and bloom. You're part of our seeds that we're growing. Thank you. Thank you for being in our garden of magic.
I love you so much.
All right. Ciao. Bye-bye.